Welcome to The Sober Gay, a podcast about being sober in the LGBT community and beyond. I'm your host, Dillan Gay, and yes, that is my last name. Hello, Aubrey.
Hello, Dillan.
Ooh, we have a very special topic today.
And that is
Death.
Oh, death.
Yeah, so I'm not afraid of death anymore.
Ooh,
Honestly.
love that.
Honestly, I used to be terrified of death. And I think that's, with sobriety, it's like we want to be alive. We want to live. We want to do this thing. Like, I mean, why else get sober if not to better ourselves, to be alive and living? So I was always afraid of death before, and that's why drinking, a lot of things boil down to uncertainty. A lot of our fears boil down to I don't know the outcome, and a lot of that in our head, I guess, is the fear of just death. You don't want to do this, you want to avoid that because you don't want to die, and then that creates like scary, what is that word, like avalanche effect of just like fear of a lot of shit because and you start drinking, you get heavy in the alcohol, and it's just a story old as time,
Beauty and the
drink.
Ooh, parody coming up. All right.
But as I was saying though, before, I'm not afraid of death anymore. I used to be very afraid of heaven and hell. That was mainly why I was afraid of death. I was afraid of death because I didn't want to go spend eternity with conservative Christians.
Love that.
I mean, that was the heaven that I was accepted into.
Yeah.
Why would I want to be there?
Yeah.
They didn't love me.
They didn't want to do anything with you at all.
Right.
No, I get that. I would say that I am fairly like more comfortable with death. I don't think I would say I fully grasp like dying like that. Yeah, I still is kind of there as like a what if it happens, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily afraid to die.
I think it started my journey into death. I was watching Surviving Death on Netflix a long time. It was like when it first, I don't know. It was like springtime. I was listening to Surviving Death or watching Surviving Death, and I just kind of started to rework how I thought about death, because death doesn't seem so scary when you start hearing other people's experiences with near-death experiences and what they've been through, and it doesn't seem all that scary. It seems more of something that we're taught to fear because it keeps the alcohol industry in business. It keeps us worried. It keeps us,
and it teaches you that you don't know what's going to happen. So
Yes. Yeah, they're like, yeah, exactly. I'd rather the mystery, honestly. Sometimes it's like, what are we fighting for so bad? You're working so hard, or you're fighting so hard just to be miserable in your 9 to 5 and hate your kids and wife, and like, why are you fighting so hard for that?
I agree. I mean, it's hard to, I guess, fully grasp like how we can be okay with that, because it is such a like unknown. It is such a like thing that when we view death as a society, at least in America, we view it from the lens of like there's death, decay, it's sadness, and like as opposed to like celebrating it as a joy of like we had this huge life to live, and we did that. We were able to live that life on this earth, and now we've moved on, and we can pass that on to someone else, like that joy, even if it's just one person, like that joy onto someone else.
A lot of cultures celebrate death as you get to go on to the next step. This is, and it's such a celebration of ending, or it's more of a celebration of their life and them moving on to their next world and then their next life, their next step, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had any of that teaching growing up. I never got to experience the truth of what's going to happen or what could happen, or I was taught just one narrow-minded option that was the Christian, very conservative Christian,
Mm-hmm.
evangelical style version of what the afterlife is, and how it's two choices, heaven or hell, and you're going to get there one way or another, to either one, by the choices you make that are set by the standards of a society that you have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's toxic to hear for young
Mm-hmm.
children.
Well, and for me, I always loved that. I was always told that our paths are predetermined. Our paths are already pre-planned. God knows everything that happens at the end. So
Yes.
God
Yeah.
already knows if I'm in hell or if I'm in heaven. And that was one of my biggest problems and biggest fears. I think that kept me in there is like, it doesn't matter what I do in this life. Like my path has already been preset.
Yeah, and you're like, so what the fuck am I even doing here then?
Mm-hmm.
If everything's all pre-planned out for me by this hateful creator, this hateful God that y'all preach about so much, then what the fuck does anything even bother? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not how things work. Not here to denounce all Christianity, but I'm definitely here to denounce evangelical Southern Baptists and things like that. I'm sorry. It's crazy. It's a cult.
Yeah.
Realize that you're in a cult. And my a lot of my family is just stuck in that cult. And it's just
They'll get out
dangerous.
of it, hopefully.
I really hope for their sake. I really hope for
It's
their
a
sake.
it's a scary thing to be a part of.
Because if anything's karma based in the afterlife,
Mhm.
you're fucked. Because you've
Mhm.
done a lot of hating and preaching hate in your life.
Ugh.
But who am I to judge?
I think that death, in all honesty, it welcomes a new, like you said, just like kind of a new life in a way.
Yeah.
That's so weird. And even for me, I mean, my aspect or outlook on death is that we kind of die and we just die. There's
Yeah.
nothing else
And
to
that's
it.
I
And
entertain any of possibilities.
I see it as, I would rather people after I die say, look at how this guy lived. Look at how he took his life and lived. And it's not to say like I necessarily touched someone's like life because of this podcast or whatever. It's just like, look at how they lived. They're happy. They were happy. That's all I want in the end. When I die,
Mhm.
I want people to say he looked happy.
Yeah, and he was happy, and yeah, I get that. So many people on their deathbeds, you recall them saying things like, "I wish I wouldn't have worked so much. I wish I wouldn't have, made work my priority over so many trips I could have taken. I could have."
Regrets.
There's so many people that's affected me to a point where I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my life. I've got this new mindset. That's why I'm not afraid of death, because I for damn sure know I'm going to enjoy my life, and I am enjoying my life.
You shouldn't have any regrets. Like when I look back on it now, I don't have any regrets of the things in the
Hell
path that I
no.
went down.
In the past, I would have said I had
Oh hell
regrets.
yeah!
But now I am so happy that I went through all the bullshit I went through, that I had the crazy evangelical raising that I had to fucking go through. I'm so glad I had to because I conquered all of it. I chose to move to New Jersey when I was 10 years old because I knew I had to get the hell out of Tennessee and the area that I was in,
Mhm.
and live with my mom and just, get away from all of that.
Mhm.
And it was just started this snowball effect in my life, I think, of me making these decisions that I'm like, I don't need anybody else's blah 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 blah. Like
Mhm.
I can just do this or whatever. And that was always there through my drinking career. Even I would try to suppress it. It was always there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah.
I mean, that's something that I feel like I've done as well, but I think it's interesting for us as alcoholics. Um we do drink a lot because one, we're scared of death, I think.
Yeah.
And
We want to enjoy some little sliver of something because we're so depressed in
yeah.
our main life or
Yeah.
so not happy in our main life.
And it actually brings me to something that one of my friends asked me yesterday when we were hanging out is, you know, when I have gone through like just being in the addiction, have you seen a lot of your friends? For me, I've seen a lot of my friends kill themselves, not necessarily from over drinking, but from the alcoholism and from
Yeah.
drinking to the point that it has caused cancer and liver problems and things like that. And we drink to get away from it, but yet we're putting ourselves on a slow, treacherous path to
Mhm.
destroy and kill ourselves.
Yeah. And
And it's not an instant thing. I mean, a lot of like I think it is hilarious because when I thought about it, like I was like, I really don't know a lot of people who've just like died from overdosing like alcohol. Like it
yeah,
happens,
right.
but you just drink yourself to death slowly and it's
It's
miserable.
usually something else that is going to kill you. You know, it's going to be either a, a car accident that you kill
Mhm.
someone. It's going to be kidney failure, liver failure, something like of that aspect. It's going to be from the lung cancer, from where you've drank so much that you've smoked 10 packs of cigarettes every day, you know, or every week. And it's some other, it might not be the drinking directly, but it'll be related to the
Yeah.
drinking. That's that snowball effect. It's how every choice we make in our life has that snowball effect to like lead us to this exact moment that we're in right now.
Mhm.
It's like
Mm.
there's going to be something in that end of life drinking career that people are going to go through that will end their life because, boil it down, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Drinking.
Mhm.
It'll come back to it.
Mhm. And we don't we wanna find. It's almost like we seek out death without actually seeking it out, and we're
Yeah.
so freaking.
We're so afraid, and it's like what we talked about manifestation. We're so afraid of death that we're just putting into the universe death,
Mhm.
death, death, you know, because that's what the universe hears. That's what it's getting out of that. So all it hears is death. Give me death. Like
Yeah.
it's like, so you're gonna just keep doing all these things to destroy yourself and bring yourself down because that's
Mm.
what you're calling out for.
Oh god. All of these, like, past, like, 3 or 4 episodes these past few weeks have all connected each other, and I love it.
Yes, we are transcending. Transcending.
Yes, we are. We're breaking that wall. We're breaking that wall
Oh,
right now, and I think that we need to stop looking at death in the lens of it is the end all be all because it's not.
it's not.
I mean, yes, in a way,
It's
yes,
the end of this chapter.
yes,
You know what I mean? Like, or this book, or any. You know what I mean? It's just the end of this. This.
yeah, this.
Of
It's the end of this body, and we have the chance to affect other people's lives before we die.
yes, because that's all you're. That's all that's gonna have. Posthumously,
Mm-hmm.
all we have or whatever is gonna be our effect on the ones around us.
Mm-hmm. And let's take that time to affect them affect them
Yeah.
positively.
Hmm.
Um because I don't I like I said I don't want to be known as the drunk or the alcoholic when I die. I don't want to be known as someone
Hmm.
who slowly drank themselves to death.
They're
Like
like, oh, he was such a fun time. It's so sad he was had such a problem with
so
alcohol.
right.
You know what I
It's so
mean?
sad he died that way.
Yeah.
My whole fear
Yeah.
dying in such a sad way.
I think about all the friends I've lost to heroin and drinking, and it's just that's what people say. You know, it's oh, it's I don't want my death post to be a link to addiction sources.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm saying with that? Like,
Mhm.
I don't. I get what you're saying. I don't want to be remembered for that. Just that.
I do not, and I like, and our fear and the fear of death is what caused us to get to that point.
Yeah. And the
So
death is in the future. We have no control of that in this
no,
present moment.
and if you do, please give me that resource as well. Even though I don't want
Ooh.
to live forever, but like, I'll
Oh
take a
God,
couple
no.
extra years.
Can I just get like a pill that has like a couple extra years? No, because then it's gonna be some like, what's that movie with Meryl Streep?
I was gonna say the one with
Death
Justin
becomes.
Timberlake.
Oh, I was thinking Death Becomes Her.
Oh, but okay. I was thinking of the one with the time watches, and that was like their death. They had like a
Ooh.
certain amount of time, and they could buy more time or like lose more time.
Oh God, just kill me now. That's too stressful. I don't even, that's what I said earlier. I'm not afraid of death. A year ago, if you would have asked me to jump out of a plane, skydive, I would have said, fuck no, I will never skydive in my life. Now I'm like, yeah, throw me out of a plane. Do I even need a parachute? I don't even care.
Yes.
I will land safely.
Okay, well,
Because I've already landed safely. Oh,
there's reality.
Throw me out of the plane.
So there's reality and there's QAnon
No,
sort. No, I'm
totally
just kidding.
Totally kidding. Well, what else? Death. Death becomes him.
How do we reframe death in America? How do we do that?
I think it starts with just being present. That's what we got in our last episode. We talked about meditation. If you're worried about death, that means you're instantly not present because you're worried about a future, something in the future.
That
period.
You have no control over.
Period. Yeah, exactly. You have this present moment. So if you're worried about dying from lung cancer in this present moment, smoking a cigarette, well, guess what? That means you're aiding to that fear because you know what I mean with that
Probably
analogy.
shouldn't smoke that cigarette.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of like how you can affect your future by focusing on the now. So meditation will help you be in that present moment and know, like, like we said on our last episode, just know where you are in this present time, and you don't have to be somewhere else always worried about the future or reminiscing on the past, because that's all going to be worthless worrying, which what manifests more worthless worrying.
Wow, cycles.
Yeah, it's all like a big cycle.
One giant ass cycle.
Exactly. Just break that. You don't have to be so afraid of death because it creates, just more worry, basically, is what we're getting at pretty much.
Yeah. Worry warts.
Worry warts. No one likes a worry wart.
No. We can freeze those off. Let's pause, meditate, and freeze them off.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not afraid of. Are you afraid of death? Yeah.
No, I mean, like, no and yes, but no.
Like, are you as afraid of death right now as you were like a year ago?
No, I'm not. I'm more like, in all honesty, I'm like one of those people that thinks about all the possibilities that could happen, and it's like, God, all of them sound awful.
Well, with the way our current climate crisis and everything is going, it's all out of our control at this point. We just have to keep putting out good energy and positive energy, because what else are we going to do? I mean, no, the corporations aren't listening to us anymore, so we just keep yelling and more and more and more and more and more. And you have to save time to remember that, as important as it is to fight for those things, just remember your peace of mind at the end of the day, and remember that, just to try to put out the positive, though. You don't want to, because you keep focusing on all that negative and all the bad things that are happening on in the world. You're going to engulf it into your brain, and nothing will become enjoyable anymore, because you're going to see the world in a different way that's very negative and dark. And
well, I think it's such a time too, as of lately, where there's been a lot of death around lately. A lot
with COVID, and all half of the world is dead. It feels like
it feels like a lot has happened, and it's, I don't know, it's hard to kind of maybe get out of that like thought of like death. Like, this is where our world is. We're all dying from a virus, and I get it. It's sad.
Yeah. End of times, end of this episode. Where can people find us on the Instagram?
Oh, I think they can find us on the Instagram at the Sober Gay Podcast.
The Sober Gay Podcast. And where can the people find us on the web?
They can find us at the sobergay.com.
Until next time,
stay sober, girl.